Hello, welcome. I'm so grateful to share this space with you today. You know, when I started out on this journey of spiritual seeking, what I really wanted was to reduce suffering in my life. I thought that when I wake up, finally, the psychological suffering will go away. I thought that awakening was a magic formula that would make me charismatic and motivated and in flow. I would finally be out of my own way. I thought that becoming enlightened would make me love myself instead of hate myself like I've done most of my life. I wanted to be able to wake up in the morning and live with myself without self-loathing. I concluded that I was in my own way, self-sabotaging myself at any attempt of progress towards becoming a better person, a higher functioning person, an upright citizen, someone to be proud of, special. I was concerned with what enlightenment could give me as an individual. I think this is common for many of us who find ourselves on the path. We assume we know where this is going to lead us. We think enlightenment will be the arrival of the idealized self we fantasize about. The self that will be finally worthy of love. But in truth, we never know where we're headed on this journey, no matter what we believe. We can't know where or how this will end, how this will be. If we knew that this had nothing to do with us, we probably wouldn't want this. This truth cannot be wanted by an individual, because this truth has nothing to do with any of our fantasies about ourselves. Even so, we trudge ahead through the blood, sweat, and tears, through all the things we must put ourselves through to believe that we deserve love and worthiness. Many of us spend decades striving to realize. Many of us try endless modalities, New Age beliefs, traditions, attempt to purge traumas, experiment with psychedelics, try and adopt virtuous characteristics like the saints, and on it goes. That which we are willing to put ourselves through as seekers seems to be endless in order to gain the truth. Now, I'd like to say that I don't believe for a second that there is anything wrong with this. This is simply an observation of what is common on the path. And I know that the path can look wildly different from person to person. Science cannot tell us what reality is. What it can tell us is the patterns that are observed in studying it. Perhaps humans are so deeply conditioned and stubborn that they have to jump through hoops and dance around the truth before they're ready to see it clearly. As I look at this specific common pattern of spiritual seeking, I see that there are many dead-end roads that must be taken by most of us in order to finally narrow our focus down to the truth. Perhaps it's because on a subconscious level, we know that the arrival we strive for has nothing to do with what we want as an individual. Perhaps we have to be lukewarm for a time. We push forward while at the same time sabotaging ourselves. Wanting and not wanting simultaneously something we cannot understand, while the truth that we seek lives in the unknown. And the creatures that we seem to be have done nothing but comfort ourselves with the apparent known our whole lives. Innocently, in order to survive. We have the capacity to see this self-sabotage, to see what we don't want to see, to admit to ourselves that we don't really want to wake up in a certain way. Many years into the path, I was listening to Adyashanti one day, and he stated with much compassion that the reason why we haven't seen clearly is because we don't yet really want to. Of course, I'm paraphrasing this, but this is the gist of what he said. At this time on my path, I reacted offensively at first. Automatically, psychologically defending the hard work I had put into this path. I knew that I was devout in my seeking for this truth. I never questioned that. But I trusted Adyashanti. So I inquired honestly if this were really true. And it turns out it was. I saw for the first time what my mind was truly capable of. The webs of deceit, intricately woven, like a magic trick. The mind showed me all the evidence that I was doing everything humanly possible to progress on this path. And I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. But what the mind does not come out and tell us is that this very running around, frantically grasping, psychological gymnastics, disassociated circus, was the very thing protecting me from the truth, the unknown. The mind was protecting me from the psychological death that I longed for, in such a way that I never even suspected it. One example of this is the mind's incessant reminding me every day that one day I will wake up. One day, hopefully soon, I'll just pop and I'll finally be self-realized. I was projecting enlightenment into the future in order to avoid it. This was an illusion of the mind, keeping something at arm's length that is more intimate than breath itself. And that something, clear seeing, enlightenment, self-realization, appeared to be other than me. To see this clearly is grace. So I made an intention that I wanted to see what I didn't want to see. This is a powerful intention for me, of consciously facing the unknown head on, to truly face my deepest shadows and darkest demons, to face my fear, and let go of the mind's control of its convoluted stories completely. To be the space for the visceral sensation of existential terror, or anything else that needs to be felt or seen, without the story, without the child's comfort blanket of fantasy. It is deeply ingrained within us that the stories we tell ourselves are true and represent reality. They protect us from the world that we seem to be separate from. We don't know what the world looks like without these stories. We are terrified of a world that we cannot analyze and know. And all of this is perfectly understandable. It's an innocent survival mechanism, a habitual pattern of protection. It isn't wrong. It's perfectly natural. But the world of truth cannot be known conceptually. We must approach that we long for, naked and vulnerable. We must trust life, that life knows how to take care of itself. We have to free fall blindly and have faith that life will catch us. Life will move us, as it always has. We must be willing to stop. Just stop. In order to be the open space for what is. Then we will see that enlightenment has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with the idealized, realized fantasy self that we hold in our minds. Enlightenment is. It just is, already. Even as things appear that we do not prefer. Confusion, self-loathing, shame, fear, selfishness, anything that appears. Clearly seeing does not give us anything that we didn't already have. We assume we are not awake because these things that we do not prefer still appear. But that has nothing to do with seeing clearly. There is nothing that is not enlightenment. Be still and know that I am God. Thank you.